Hi everyone, welcome back to Linger Longer with Books. My name's Catherine, and in this week's video I'm going to take you with me to the Queen's Reading Room Festival at Chatsworth in Derbyshire. I'm going to get on the road shortly. I live on the south coast of England and I have probably about a 2.5 hour drive north to collect my twin sister Rachel from Birmingham Airport. She's flying over from Dublin, Ireland, to join me for the weekend so we can go to the festival together, which is incredibly special. It's a couple of weeks before our 40th birthday, so this is kind of a sort of a trip together that is just fortuitously kind of timed around our birthday. So this is our kind of trip away to kind of share in our love of books, as well as kind of mark that special kind of birthday milestone. So I think I'm just about packed. I just thought that I would hop on here and set the scene for you and just show you a couple of bits that I picked up last night as a little bit of a kind of a treat for the trip. So first up is a new rucksack. I got this from TK Maxx. Some of you will know, be familiar, well, those in the UK will know TK Maxx, but I do know that TK Maxx is known in the world slightly differently. I think it's TJ Maxx in Australia, where my sister used to live. So I've picked up this beautiful Fenella Smith backpack. It's kind of like an olivey green, I would say. I don't know if that's coming out very well on the camera. And it's got a beautiful like pom-pom bit there that I shall keep on there until it gets so grubby that it needs to come off. When I brought it home last night, Shelby was immediately trying to eat it, but who knows why. He's a little bit strange. You might hear him, he's having a wash and laying down in the sun at the moment. Anyway, so really chuffed with that. And then of course I had to go over and look at the book section, and just hoping, wasn't I, that something would just jump out at me, which it did. So the book that I picked up was One of Us Is Back by Karen M. McManus. This is book 3 in the One of Us Is Lying series. And I just, the price, don't know if you can see, RRP, recommended retail price, £14.99. And their price, £3.99, and it's a hardback, so I had to pick this up. The cover really kind of drew me in. I think this is the US edition. It looks like from the sticker, underneath the sticker, the barcode says US. I don't think this is the UK edition. But anyway, I am collecting this series, so I thought it'd be rude not to bring it home with me. So in terms of, I know it obviously sets out, you can't see because of the beautiful sunshine, but it sets out her books. I do have on my shelf over there. So anyway, no, let me say, so in terms of this series, book 3, it goes One of Us Is Lying, One of Us Is Next, One of Us Is Back. I don't have those first 1 and 2 yet, but I will do. In terms of the next bunch of books that Karen has published, it is Two Can Keep a Secret, which I've got on my shelf here. Then it goes The Cousins, that I've also got there. And then it's got You'll Be the Death of Me, which I picked up the other week when I was in Dublin. I'll try and link that video below if any of you want to see me go to Chapters bookstore, which is absolutely superb. Secondhand and new bookstore in Dublin. I picked that up for €4.99. And then I picked up the kind of final book in that particular series, and that's Nothing More to Tell, and that was for €3.99. So that's quite a handy kind of reminder, because Karen has published quite a few books by now, and they obviously have been made, I think, into a Netflix series, which I really enjoyed watching the series so far. So yeah, really thrilled with that, especially for the price, £4 for a hardback. You can't really beat that. And then I had to wander through the stationery section. Not that I need any more new notebooks, probably a problem some of you out there identify with, but just scanned birthday cards, etc. And I turned the corner and these literally jumped out at me and jumped into my basket. No, I didn't have a basket, just my hand. And hopefully you can see these. These are called Twisty Pens, and it says, what a novel idea. This pack of 4 pens cost me £2.99, and I don't know if you can see massively clearly here, but I'll just read them all out. They've all got a different bookish message on them. The first one, the blue one, says, I am fully booked. The next one says, just one more chapter. The purple one, I love that colour. And then the next one, I'll squeeze it along, it says, treat your shelf. And then pink says, in my reading era. So had to get those. So thrilled with my buys last night. Did I need any of it? No. Oh well. But anyway, I am just packing the last of my things, having some coffee, kind of getting my head together before that drive up to Birmingham. That's the first leg to get Rachel. And then I think we've probably got an hour and a half more to go on to the county of Derbyshire, and we are staying in the beautiful location of Bakewell. I think we're in a sort of a village just outside Bakewell. I think it's technically classed as Bakewell. So we have a cottage. I think I might have said it's currently Friday, so we arrive Friday sort of evening, and then we're there until Sunday morning. So there for 2 nights. It looks wonderful. We booked it online months ago when we booked our festival tickets. So hopefully it should be a really nice, cozy weekend. I've got no idea what the weather's like. Probably quite changeable at the moment. Showery, sunny. September, isn't it? So it's kind of to expect all weathers. It feels like that's how it is in April with the showers. But anyway, yeah, I shall let you know how we go through the weekend, and there will be obviously upcoming clips as part of this video, but I will just leave you with a little teaser of the authors that we have booked to see. The first talk we're going to is Kristen Hannah and Sebastian Faulks. Have heard wonderful things about Kristen's novels. I'm ashamed to say I haven't yet read any of hers, but I've now got a copy of The Nightingale, so I want to read that very soon. Birdsong I read when it was published, and just stunning. Haven't seen Sebastian Faulks talk in person, so really pleased that I'm able to change that. The next author that we're seeing is famous and perfect for the Regency kind of architecture and period and kind of backdrop of Chatsworth. It is Julia Quinn, who wrote the Bridgerton series. I don't think Julia does massive amount of talks here in the UK. I'm just getting that sticky label off. So thought that we should jump at the chance of seeing what Julia has to say. So yeah, really intrigued to see her talk. The next talk we're going to is Jojo Moyes and Helen Fielding. Helen is famous probably mostly for Bridget Jones's Diary and the related books around that, but Jojo Moyes I'm a huge fan of. This is probably my favourite of her books that I've read, and I know she's incredibly kind of she's online posting quite a lot, but I haven't yet seen her in person, so thought we should grab the chance to see her chat. And obviously Helen, be fabulous to see them together. I think that talk will be a lot of fun. And then the final talk that we've booked to go and see is Hallie Rubenhold and Sarah Waters. So Hallie is an author that I have seen in talk in person before a few times. Incredibly interesting. The whole kind of social history, the importance of people having a voice when perhaps they haven't in decades or centuries past. The 5 just wowed me and went on to recommend it to lots of friends and family. So I've read the 5, and I've also own Story of a Murder, and I've read that one. That's all around the case of Dr. Crippen. So thrilled to see Hallie again. I haven't yet seen Sarah, obviously a historical fiction writer, highly acclaimed. This is a library copy that I picked up a short while ago. It's actually in large print. It's incredibly heavy, but I hope to read that very soon. That's The Night Watch. And Sarah is really well known for Fingersmith and I think Tipping the Velvet. And there is another book listed here called Affinity. So yeah, really chuffed with the tickets that we managed to get hold of, because the event, I understand, is sold out. So yeah, stay tuned for how we get on, and I shall be back in a little bit. This was our cottage for the weekend. Thought some might appreciate an outdoor view, so here you go. The lounge was full of character and it was really cosy too. We of course took a sofa each, didn't we? Friday night we took a 3-minute walk to the Lackhill Hotel and it was delicious. Plus, look at those views. Hi everyone, I'm jumping in here at this point as promised. We are now in the lovely Juniper Cottage in the village of, I think it's called Overhaddon, which is fairly near Chatsworth. I think we're about a 10-15 minute drive this morning for the festival. But we got here, I think it took me a total of around 5 hours to drive yesterday because of Friday traffic, roadworks, lorries, the usual. But I was quite proud of myself to kind of get us here. And I picked Rachel up, sorry, hair has gone wild. Picked up Rachel from Birmingham Airport as planned, and we arrived, we got settled, we had some bubbles because it is the start of our birthday weekend. We've got some lovely gifts and some lovely chocolates there on the go, but we headed to the lovely pub down about a 3-4 minute walk away. That was really nice. We had gorgeous views of the fields and the sheep and the farmers at work as the sun was setting. So, and it was really yummy. I had a curry, Rachel had some fish cakes, and we're back there this evening for dinner because I had booked that particular booking before we set off. But by the time we got here last night, it was just too late to pass a local shop, which we didn't, and also consider a takeaway. I think we're too remote for that. But anyway, just finishing up my coffee, we will get on the road shortly, and we have obviously a day ahead of us filled with those lovely authors that I shared with you in a previous clip. So weather-wise, I think it is a little bit drizzly and overcast, but I think for the talks we are inside for all of them, but we'll go armed with brollies and waterproofs. So yeah, that's kind of it for now, but we just expect clips of the gorgeous Chatsworth, which is obviously in this painting behind me on the wall in the cottage. I thought that was a kind of a poignant backdrop to use. Be rude not to, wouldn't it? But yeah, we will check back in later, and you'll probably see Rachel featured in the clips as well. She's not a ghost. She is real. She does exist. Yeah, see you a little bit later on. For fans of architecture and coffee table books. How adorable are these book displays? This is a batch of non-fiction, plus take a look at this typewriter. This was the gorgeous location for the Julia Quinn and the Jojo Moyes talks. You can see why Chatsworth is so popular with people from all over the world visiting. This was us heading to the chapel for the final talk of the day. Moody, dark, gothic, beautiful paintings, and it was the perfect backdrop for Hallie Rubenhold and Sarah Waters' talk. We drove a short distance to the beautiful Bakewell for brunch and bookshops. There was a lovely mix of independent and second-hand bookshops. No book buys here, but it was really, really charming. Do you spot any titles on your TBR? In Cancer Research UK, Rachel may have spotted one or two crime classics she was after. I'm now home, so I thought that I would give a bit of a reflection on how the festival went yesterday. I'm filming this particular clip Sunday evening. I've arrived back after probably probably about a 4-hour drive, dropped Rachel back at Birmingham Airport so she could get her flight back to Dublin. And then I sort of headed down to the south coast for home. But yeah, the festival was a full-on day yesterday on that Saturday. We saw a total of 4 author talks. The rain, as you might have seen in some of those clips, did not dampen our bookish spirits. I will just take you through the talks one by one and kind of those key takeaways for me personally. So the first talk that we saw of the day was the 11 o'clock talk with Sebastian Faulks and Kristen Hanna. Obviously amazingly talented, highly acclaimed authors. They were talking about their novels, which are known for quite sort of heavy subject matter in terms of warfare, conflict. But it was just incredibly interesting to listen to both of them give their insights about their careers. If they get, there was a question from the audience about whether they get writer's block or not. Sebastian was incredibly funny and witty, which actually helped lighten the mood of some of the sort of subject matter they were talking about. And I hadn't appreciated that Kristen travelled all the way from Seattle to go to the festival. But yeah, and I learnt that growing up, one of her school friends' dads was in the Vietnam War and was one of the men that they were waiting for to come home, and sort of how the lens of war is seen through a child's eye, perhaps. So those two, incredibly great way to start the festival for us. I did spot the actor Dominic West in the audience, although that particular talk we went to was in the theatre, and there was a sort of a gallery, as you might expect, and I turned round and I just spotted Dominic with his wife there. So that was a little bit special, given Dominic is sort of on the publicity kind of train at the moment for the Downton Abbey movie, the grand finale film. So yeah, that was a bonus, I guess. The second talk we went to, let me think which way round it was. I think it was Julia Quinn, the author of Bridgerton Next. I really hope I've got that the right way round. I have to say I haven't yet read any of the Bridgerton books, but I was a huge fan of the series. I'm yet to watch the Queen Charlotte kind of spin-off, but it was just really fascinating to listen to Julia about how she wrote the books back in the early 90s. The late 90s. Hadn't appreciated they were sort of published that long ago. And she was joined on stage by one of the Bridgerton actresses, Catherine. I can't think of her last name. She is the dressmaker. Bridgerton fans will know. Sorry, my name recall is not that good. So, and Julia was just kind of revealing the whole relationship. Often if a book is optioned for film or for TV, what the relationship kind of might look like for authors if they choose to be, or just by circumstance not involved in the kind of screen adaptation of their story. And I guess it's down to obviously contractual decisions, preferences. But that was just really interesting to see how kind of stories go, obviously from novels, how they're wrapped up in a novel form, to how they might be adapted, especially to kind of tell the story very visually, what gets left, what gets chopped. But yeah, really, really kind of thrilling to see Julia. And she is also from Seattle, I learned. Next up was Jojo Moyes and Helen Fielding. Both were journalists. They had a lot of commonality with kind of what they were saying in their interviews, but both journalists by trade, and their talk kind of centered on, I think, often that fine line, that sort of thin line between comedy and tragedy, and when you go through something kind of awful and upsetting, sort of personally or in your friend or family circle, how we often take comfort in comedy and funny moments and that mix of light with dark. So loved seeing the pair of them. And also Jilly Cooper, I'll try and insert a photo. The obviously massively famous author Jilly Cooper was in the audience. I think she was doing a talk with Jojo a little bit later on in the day, but that was lovely to see Jilly kind of walk by and be just a few seats away from us. So that was a really nice treat as well. And then the final talk we saw of the day was Hallie Rubenhold and Sarah Waters. And you might think that, that's just sort of historical kind of literature kind of wrapped up in one. And I guess in essence it was, but Sarah writes fiction, and her books, Tipping the Velvet, Fingersmith, and I can't think of the other name of the novel. But Sarah has kind of chosen, she was saying, kind of particular decades of history and kind of parts of the 20th century, I guess, late 19th and kind of into the 20th century. And Hallie is kind of an academic writer in terms of, she's a social historian. So she has published the Covent Garden Ladies, but the two that I have read most recently is the five women killed by Jack the Ripper in Victorian London, and A Story of a Murder, which is around Dr. Crippen and the crimes he committed. So I could have listened to those two for hours. We saw them speak in the very, very beautiful chapel, massively kind of gothic, dark, just kind of the perfect setting for those two talking. So all in all, really pleased with the kind of the talks that we selected and bought tickets for. A whole mixture there. Hopefully I've kind of summed it up fairly enough. In terms of a venue, Chatsworth was great. All of the talks were indoors. I think a little bit on the sort of downside was with the downpours of rain. We were queuing in the rain. I'm not sure if I'm getting a cold or not. Not sure. Might just be my sinuses. But we did get a little bit soggy, even with waterproofs and brollies, because of the downpours in the queues for each of the talks. But anyway, that's just part of British life, isn't it? I just thought that I would show you, before I end the video, what I bought in the gift shop, because obviously we went in the gift shop. We arrived quite early at Chatsworth, which was a good decision for what I'm about to say next, because I think the car park opened about 9. I think we were there for probably just around 9:30, maybe 9:20. And we managed to get a good parking space, and then we sort of saw the floods of cars, not floods, no water pun intended, the stream, okay, water puns, I was gonna say the flow of cars, that's even worse. Yeah, the line of cars coming in, and double-decker buses kind of bringing people from, I think, as far afield as Sheffield, it looked like. But anyway, we were quite smug because we got parked up. We were able to kind of get our bearings. We got a coffee and a tea. And then we headed into the gift shop. We were there when it opened at 10 o'clock, which left us ample time before that first talk at 11, as I mentioned. So I bought a few things in the kind of the gift shop that was in the stable block, I think, in terms of, if you've been to Chatsworth or you're going, if you looked at the sort of the map of Chatsworth, quite a few different kind of locations and gift shops and toilets, as you would expect. But we went into the gift shop that was near in the sort of the old kind of stable block. So I'm just checking that everything is out of the bag. It is. So I've got a few little bits. I will start with the book. The one book that I bought the entire day, which I think is quite a kind of good thing. Self-control did prevail. I saw this and I thought, oh, that looks like quite a cute little book as a souvenir. It's not a book that I will read from cover to cover. I'll probably dip into. Anyway, the book is Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village, and this is by Maureen Johnson and Jay Cooper, and it's published by Raven Books. And this just caught my eye on a gorgeous display, and it's almost like not a graphic novel, but it's let's have a look. It's sketched in black and white with some red colouring, as you can see, but it goes through buildings and spaces, the village. So it breaks down the village, as you will see. So buildings and spaces, English villages follow an ancient blueprint from a simpler time when babies drank beer and everyone had a sheep. Time may march on elsewhere, but not in the village. They don't like change in the village. So it sets out like the church, the churchyard, the old mill. There are all sort of locations that you can kind of, if you've watched anything like Midsummer Murders or anything about, quaint English life, these will resonate. And then it goes on to sort of a section about the residents. Oops, I've just dropped some bits. I will pick them up. So it's got the town doctor. The town doctor doesn't look great there. He's got a bloody sore and he's up to no good. You've got the gardener, the farmer. And then let's have a look. Then it's got really, really great drawing there. I can't open it. Open the page. The manor. And then it goes on to rooms and architecture of said building. The bedrooms, the bathroom, the locked room. So yeah, just a really fun book, I thought. Goes on to furnishings and features, canopy beds, and that suit of armour. So yeah, not obviously just a kind of pictorial book essentially, but I bought that was $14.99. And then bear with me, I've just dropped everything on the floor. I swear there was something else. There it is. I then picked up some really cute stickers of Chatsworth because I do like my stickers for my journaling. These are for kids, but I can be a big kid, can't I? So I shall use those. Just thought that they were really nice. And a memory of the day. Next, I had to get a bookmark. Chatsworth, had to get the purple one because purple is my favourite colour. I also had to get a fridge magnet. I don't know if you can see that. They had several different types, but I like this colourful kind of colourful one. It looks like a sort of a Regency kind of picture. A woman in a big hat and gown there, and some sort of banquet on the lawn. So yeah, that was lovely. That's going to go on my fridge. And then those of you who've been following my channel for a little while, you'll know, you might hopefully be aware that I collect enamel pins. So I picked up this pin of Chatsworth House itself. So that will go up on my pin cloth. I shall feature photos of that on my Instagram very shortly. So that's a really nice, yeah, just token of the kind of the weekend experience. So those are my little bits that I got in the gift shop. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. I've had a lovely weekend and a fab time kind of putting this video together to share with you all. If you have stopped by and you don't subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate you taking the time to hit the subscribe button. And if this has really kind of been enjoyable as a video for you, hit the like button and leave me a comment. Perhaps, have you been to Chatsworth? What do you think of the authors that I saw? Have you got any particular favourites in there, or favourite books that they have written? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know. And if you have subscribed, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. They're usually out every Monday at 6 p.m. That's GMT, because I live in England, as you might have suspected from the accent, but who knows? But yeah, if you have watched this far, thank you, because I know everyone is incredibly busy with life. I do usually do a bit of a call out for viewers to leave me an emoji in the comments, just to let me know that you're out there and you've watched this far. And I think in honour of Chatsworth and the Queen's Reading Room Festival, why not leave me something regal, whether that's a crown, a jewel, I'll leave it up to you, but yeah, just leave me something kind of that denotes royalty. That'll be fab. But yeah, I shall wrap up. I am feeling quite weary, going to hopefully get an early night and ready for work tomorrow, because I'm wrapping this up on a Sunday evening. But yeah, by the time that you view this, I should be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And yeah, just scrolling through my photos and video clips of the weekend, which is a lovely thing to have. I will be featuring snapshots, the photos that I took over on my Instagram, if you want to follow me over there, as well as here, because I do post most days. Obviously this is more weekly, and that's sort of on a daily basis, more or less. But anyway, I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you've got a good book on the go at the moment, whether that's fiction or non-fiction, whether that's hardback, paperback, audiobook. I am just about to finish The Eights by Joanna Miller. That's the beauty of a big road trip, long road trip up to Derbyshire and back, is that I've nearly finished that particular novel, which I do own a physical copy of. Can I get it? Yes, I can. What's that fluff? Oh, that's just the top of the receipt. But The Eights by Joanna Miller is all around women studying at Oxford University in 1920. So all of the kind of the social constraints of that time about women sort of being academic, right off the back of the end of the First World War. Loving it. I've, like I said, I'm nearly finished it, but just such an interesting variety of women. Highly recommend. Basically, I should probably do a video on this at some point soon, but I won't attempt that now because I'm very tired and I will not do it justice. But just to say, that's the book that I'm reading at the moment, and I will shortly be going on to Scoops, which is this month's book club pick for the book club that I run. So if you are in any way intrigued by Scoops by Sam McAllister, I would absolutely recommend you heading over to Facebook and searching the Never Ending Story Book Club. That's the book club that I run online the last Saturday of every month. Everyone is welcome. And this is the book that we will be discussing at the end of this month. So yes, that offer is always there. But yeah, those are the books that I've kind of got. That's my sort of now and that's my next. So anyway, take care everyone, and I shall see you in next week's video. Bye.